Hi, this is Ed Cohen, your broadcast host on Global TV Talk Show, coming to you today from Big Bear Lake, 7,000 feet above LA Metro. It's sunny and 75 degrees at about 8 a.m. here. So let's quickly welcome our very special guest. We're going to start with Jim Walsh. Please say hi. Jim Walsh with Relo Solutions. Tell me about Relo Solutions in 30 seconds. What do you do?
All right, Ed, our core focus is the moving and storage industry. We serve moving and storage companies that serve corporate and military business, and then we also serve a lot of relocation management companies. We also do a good amount of work in the retail and hospitality space with installation services and last mile services, as well as pharmacy and retail installs.
Great, thank you. Eddie Marx, say hello, please.
Hi, my name is Eddie Marx. I'm the fourth generation of the Marx family involved in the moving and storage industry. I work for New World Van Lines. We celebrated 101 years in service. We have 16 domestic locations and 2 international, one in Rotterdam and in Shanghai. Thanks a lot, Ed.
Yeah, you bet. So as I understand it, Rotterdam is the main port of entry into EU, isn't it?
Correct. There's a tremendous amount of traffic through Rotterdam.
Yeah, great. Okay, let's move on. Let's welcome Mark Colo. Mark Colo, say hi. Chipman.
Hi, Ed. I wish I was up there, Big Bear, with you. That would be
it's great. Someday we'll set it up.
Be a lot of fun. I do the same services that Jim does, so I don't want to be repeating all those services, but suffice it to say that we get involved just about moving anything and everything anywhere at any time. I also personally do a lot of laboratory relocations. Been doing that for the last 5 years, and moving scientists who are going to find the next cure for these neurological diseases that are wreaking havoc on people's lives and the economy. So that's a little bit about us.
Yeah, I'm trying to lower my light here. Sorry about that. Mark, we're going to start with you in just a minute. You have a really cute video, I know. Let's go to Dan Cunningham and Nick Dercoli from Cubonk Inc.
Nick, if you want to go ahead. Sorry. Hey, guys. My name is Nicholas Dercol. Ed, thank you very much for having us today. Yeah. Cubonk, we've built a global logistics network to essentially provide shippers, carriers, and first and final mile services anywhere in the nation through our smart cubes and a more transparent solution for transportation.
Right. Thank you very much for sponsoring this thing. This is really cool of you guys to do this, and we're going to see a video in just a minute. And the founder of Cubonk is an old friend, Daniel Cunningham. Hello.
Hey, guys. Great to be here, obviously. Great to sit with this team on the phone today. And I would just say, what we're trying to do here with Cubonk is we're working to build a self-aware autonomous transportation marketplace. I mean, the technology is changing. We all know it's coming. Machine learning's here. It's more than here. And we're excited to be, part of that and working to bring that into the industry forward. So thank you for having us.
Thank you so much. So how's your summer going? Is it at expectations, Daniel?
We're actually above expectations. It's really interesting what's happened with COVID for us. I think it put a lot of the C-suite back at home where they had more time. They didn't have so many people in the office. So we ended up finding that, more of the C-suite availability with time to have conversations and discuss what we're doing and what we're trying to accomplish for the space as a community. So we're really pleased with what's been happening over the past few months, and obviously heading into our first series round of funding to build the scale now. We have reached phase 3 of our growth plans and looking to really take it into scale now here domestically, and then in about 18 months internationally.
All right, let's begin. Let's start with Mark Colo and his really cute video. It runs real fast. And then Mark, I want to talk to you more about moving scientists and scientific equipment and about your golf tournament coming up.
Managing your FF&D supply chain poses a big challenge, as in this big. From beginning to end, supply chains involve so many vendors to manage and hold accountable, unless you choose Chipman. With Chipman, you have a single vendor you can trust from order to installation. We manage the freight's journey from shipping point forward, and you can track your product at any given time. With company-owned warehouses across the West Coast and service centers throughout the nation, Chipman offers the same excellence to you, regardless of where you do business. We receive, inspect, and inventory your product according to your purchase order. Our robust web-based warehouse management software makes it easy to view your inventory in our warehouses. Because Chipman is an asset-based logistics company, we have the resources to deliver your product on schedule and to respond to expedited requests. We can even go the final mile with full FF&D and OS&D installation services. We work to ensure your project finishes on time and on budget. We've built a single source solution for our customers, offering freight management, warehousing, delivery, installation, and project management. Make Chipman your logistics partner on your next hospitality project.
Okay, thank you very much for showing us that, Mark. Tell us about the COVID thing that's going on and how's it impacting your business?
Well, it's impacting everyone's business, I think, to an extent. We're fortunate in our logistics industry that we can continue to work during the COVID pandemic that's going on. So we're thankful for that we can still keep busy. Makes the days go a little faster. Our industry, like all of your industries, all other industries are in constant flux and change. In fact, when I was an expatriate living over in Ireland, the local Irish had a saying. They always say, "If you don't like the weather, wait 5 minutes." And sure enough, in the course of a morning, you'd see sun, snow, sleet, hail, rain. You could see every condition of weather in just a few minutes of time. And that's how life is sometimes. You just got to change. COVID has required changes in our crews, in our customer service and counseling transferees. It's created a lot more work, I think, than any of us would really like. But change is good. To me, if the only constant is change, I think we need to learn to embrace it rather than try and fight against it and push against it. So I'm thankful when we have changes in our industry. And that video we just saw is one example where our industry has gone from one commodity to another commodity, and it's constantly been changing. So I think change is a good thing. I've got certain credos in life that I believe, that I kind of live by. The change one was a big one for me. I've got Parkinson's. I've had it for 12 years. It's a challenge, creates certain complexities when you have it. And most of my life, I was what you call a control freak. I want to control everything. And then I got this condition called Parkinson's, and there's an aspect of it called a resting tremor. And when you have a resting tremor, you can't control it. It's out of control. And you have to learn to live with that and to adjust to it. So I'm thankful for the challenges I face and the opportunities I've had in this industry. I've been able to manage every type of commodity there is in our industry, and I'm thankful for that. But my most exciting commodity has been over the last 5 years is moving research scientists all around the country. Most of them are moving inbound to Southern California to the four or five large Ivy League schools that are in California: USC, UCLA, UC Irvine, Chapman College University, and there's a few others I work with. But I'll just share one story. If it's okay, it's just a short story. That'd be all right. I got a phone call one day 5 years ago from a purchasing agent who said, "Mark, do you move laboratories?" And I said, "Sure, I move laboratories." And she said, "No, do you really move laboratories?" I said, "Yeah, I do." She asked me a third time, and I said, "What's your concern?" And her name was Jill. And I said, "Well, Jill," I said, "I can move laboratories." And she said, "Well, if you mess this up, this guy's going to be my boss's boss, and I'm going to lose my job." So I said, "No pressure, Jill. I'll take care of it." And so I called him up and I asked him the question I asked everyone. And I said, what's your biggest concern, Howard, about your relocation? He said, I'm thankful you asked me that question. He said, I've got 12 cryogenic freezers with 30,000 brain samples of individuals who have passed away with Alzheimer's and Parkinson's. He said, I can't afford to have those samples damaged or harmed. He said, if the temperature goes up by more than 3 degrees or down by more than 3 degrees, it'll compromise my samples, and I can't afford that. He said, will you guarantee me that won't happen? And when he said that, when he told me what he had and said what his concern was, I was thinking to myself, I'm on the West Coast, he's on the East Coast. What are the odds of even meeting this person? I mean, pretty slim odds. So I said, Howard, you'll be happy to know that I have a vested interest in getting you out here in good shape. And he said, well, can I ask what that is? I said, well, I have Parkinson's. And he went quiet for like about 5 or 6 seconds, was trying to process it because the odds were so extreme on his side as well that we'd even talk. And then he said, tell me about it, which told me a lot about him as an individual. He's very, very humanitarian and very kind to even ask me that question. So long story short, I got Howard out in good shape. None of his samples were damaged, thank goodness, or it would have been my head on the chopping block. Client was happy, accomplished the mission. And that's kind of just one example of how complex this industry can be and how difficult it can be to manage. So I don't want to take a lot of time, Ed. Go ahead, Ed.
Mark, what's the value, if you don't mind sharing in broad terms, what's the value of that relationship to you economically? I know spiritually it's a beautiful thing, but what's the economic value of that trust? You know, like right now, that's clean, safe, trustworthy, particularly in corporate housing, but now in everything. But you experienced that back then. What have you developed from that economically?
Well, over the course of that 5-year period, I've moved about 80 scientists now, that are research scientists, who are going to be the ones that find the next cure for these diseases, these chronic illnesses. And the benefit is that of that first move was that I've been able to network and grow the relationship and meet other individuals that have similar stories as Howard does. And so it's helped us get more exposure in the industry and helped us to grow that commodity and that niche. I moved one guy to the spit doctor.
Yeah, going further about your charity that you're a co-founder of, and I'm happy to support with advertising as well. Findcures.org, right? This is not just about Parkinson's, but even Alzheimer's and other things, correct?
Yes, we have at least a half dozen disease chronic illnesses that we focus on. It's a 501c3 nonprofit. We've been in active for about 5 years. We have two facets of what we do. One is we try to fund research that will find the next cure for these illnesses, and we're also active in bringing hope to individuals who get diagnosed with these conditions. For some people, it's a large pill to swallow. It's a heavy load when they get told they've got a chronic illness that's going to shorten their lifespan. Some people treat it as an aha moment. Others treat it as, boy, my life's over. So it runs the gamut. And we try to help them in getting a strategy, how they can prepare financially, protect their assets, and give them direction and give them hope and tell them what's going on in terms of research. So we try and support them through
you have
as long as we need it.
Yeah. And you have a charitable golf outing coming up, don't you?
We do. I'm going to show you this right now.
Oh, yeah. Just Find Cures Golf Tournament. And that's in Orange County, California.
It's in Orange County on a beautiful private course. So you'll get to play on a private course. It's called Yorba Linda Country Club in the city of Yorba Linda. Yeah. And it's on October 12th. and it's going to be a great tournament. This is our third annual tournament. The last tournament we had 100 registered golfers, so we're expecting to at least increase that to 150 this next tournament.
And,
Been a great success.
And if I wanted to sponsor, or one of our advertisers or listeners wanted to sponsor a hole, buy a round of beers, I assume that could be done.
That could be done all day long, Ed. We'd love to have that. We had some great sponsors last year. One was the Ontario Airport. The CEO said, "Hey, we got to have a piece of this," and we had him as one of our primary sponsors. And we have some great people that come out. We have so much fun, but it's a day of fun and it's a day of service to help those people in need. So spread the word, please.
Okay, we will. So, okay, as we come to a close of this segment, Mark, just summarize, what do you see happening the rest of the summer and the fall in specialty markets? Is it, are we heading for doomsday, or are we going to get through this summer okay?
Boy, I wish I had a crystal ball on that, Ed. If I'd look into my crystal ball and I'd give you the right answer. But if COVID continues to keep its forward motion, I think we're in for a long ride. I have seen some signs of improvement recently in our business, but it's been small. So we're hopeful that it's going to abate here, and that people are going to try and be a little more cautious and responsible.
Right.
But I see this COVID going a little bit longer. Most of the scientists that I speak to and that I have a relationship with, they feel it's sort of like the flu. It should abate when you get toward the end of summer, but don't quote me on that. But I'm hopeful that will be the case. By the end of summer, things will pick up a bit.
God willing. Thanks very much, Mark Polo. I want to go quickly to Eddie Marx. Eddie, how's New World dealing with COVID and clean and safe and trustworthy and all that?
Oh, we made a lot of changes very quick, as most companies did, especially ones like ours where we're sending our employees into people's homes where they've been sheltering themselves and keeping safe. So a lot of it comes into passing out a message to our staff, which you've really been able to do well. The president of the company, it's my Uncle David. It sends a weekly message out to everybody and reinforces the CDC guidelines. And we've purchased masks for all of our employees. We're very focused on when they enter the home, wash your hands, let the customer know we're taking this stuff seriously. So it's been pretty significant, just kind of the cleaning department. But we came up with contingency plans. One of the things that I really appreciate, and our customers and clients appreciate as well, we typically send a representative from our company to visit a job site. We call it job site visits. During the move process. Well, we're not doing that right now, obviously, trying to restrict that amount of face-to-face interaction. So an executive from New World calls every customer during services just to check in and giving them a point of escalation. Some of the calls are 45 seconds to a minute long. Others are 15 minutes, depending on who wants to chat. We're here to serve that purpose. It's been really, really well received by our customers and our.
Do you use a video call, or is it just telephone?
It's a phone call. I don't want to be too invasive with people's lives. Our first question is, do you have a moment to speak with me? During a move process, and I'm sure everybody's moved on this meeting at some point in time. There's a lot of balls up in the air. It's challenging, and I don't want to interrupt any more of that than we are already. So we're very cognizant of their time and whatnot. But it's basic questions. I try to reach out to them and let them know on a high level, how are things going? Has the crew been responsive? Is everybody being kind and polite and aware and following instructions, and checking on the coordinator and the progress of the job? So,
have you had more customers ask you the questions dealing with how are you going to react in the home? What are you going to do to protect myself in the home? what advice can you give me about, what's my best case steps to take? Do you have anything to say on that?
Yeah, we've had a lot of questions asked. A lot of customers ask us questions of what are you doing? How are you guys getting ahead of it? And in most cases, we'll send them information in advance. We made a really quick, easy, 6-step card of these are the steps that we take on every move. And it's kind of with a fun little graphic on it and whatnot. And that's really been well received by our clients. We started tracking, especially when COVID really first kicked off, we started tracking shipment delays. And that was significant initially. We had a lot of people that were extremely, extremely cautious in March and April and coming into May. At this point in time, from what we're seeing, volume is normalized, and in some instances, we're actually booking more right now than we were at this time last year, which is strange. And because we had all of those delays initially, it ended up causing some challenges.
That's good news. Good.
But people have, for the most part, been fairly easy, especially after we got past March and April.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, thank you very much, Eddie Marx.
Mm-hmm.
Daniel, let's just review the early days a couple of years ago when you were dreaming up this idea of CubeMont and that process. So how much time elapsed between the time when you got this great idea and launch? How much time?
About 5 years. We, did a lot of work in the space with regards to auto transport, also moving and storage in the past with technology. Worked on a couple of things tech only, and did some consulting work with the pods and the pack rats of the world, and just looked at the industry overall and seen some technological needs that weren't there, and for whatever reason, machine learning and things, we couldn't find them in the space in the transportation industry. They're everywhere else that we look as consumers, but missing when it came to the transportation space. So we spent a lot of time ideating with the industry, the freight carriers, the rail, the forwarders, trying to get the right sizes, as well as the right technology and phases in place to be able to grow this and scale this. So we worked on it for about 5 years before we even named the company. So it's just showing how easy, one person with the wheels extended, can push the container around inside of a warehouse. With 2 guys, they could deliver this on a liftgate truck, push it off into a residential driveway or whatever the case may be for self-service. So we've put a lot of engineering and technology into the container, as well as the device that's included within the container to provide the telematics back to the system that allows the system to do all the automation that it does, which, it's pretty intriguing what we've designed and built. That autonomous space is coming, and we wanted to try and get a jump on that.
Let me ask you a quick question, a little technical. Of course, this is a demo PR thing, but
Sure.
People want to know what's the big deal here? What do you mean by marketplace?
We're trying to create a community. The industry, is disparate with technology. They're using 4, 5, 6 programs to run, their day-to-day operations. We started looking at the industry overall and looking to bring truth and transparency back to the space. There's a lot of that missing today. Again, it comes back to a central source of truth for data and the ability to work in one platform, as a unit and as a whole on a global scale. That makes things more transparent to the consumer. And, we're trying to take this and allow anybody to be able to plug and play and work together, share resources and assets, and allow machine learning to play its part forward to optimize bottom line revenue gains.
Yeah. So, okay, let's talk about plug and play. Nick, why don't you come into that and talk about plug and play and how you describe the benefits to companies?
Yeah, absolutely. So with the CubeMont Marketplace, one of our fundamental goals was to be able to work with existing infrastructure. Obviously, when you're trying to implement any new technology, it's a cumbersome process, especially for these larger organizations. And with the CubeMont Marketplace, our goal was to level the playing field no matter the size of the company, whether it's a small, mid-size, or large business.
Yeah, that's great. So 4 of us have facial hair. So let's keep that going.
What are you trying to say here, Ed? I don't make it close.
I don't know. So Dan Cunningham, what's next for you? I mean, you've got huge financial backing and a lot of spirit and energetic young team behind you. So where are you going from here? Other verticals or what?
Yeah, moving and storage is inevitably, we created this initially for this industry and then realized along the way that pharmaceutical, medical devices, high value freight was actually bigger than, the moving and storage space, and there's more opportunity there. But it remains, I grew up in the space, started in the trucks when I was 16 myself, worked my way up through every position that you can imagine, and into the technological space that we're in today. So that's where we're trying to go with everything.
Yeah. So, just an interesting aside. I've never been in the moving business, but somewhat related. My dad was in the furniture business in Boston for 50 years. So when I was a kid, I always thought I'd be in that business, but they sold it. And so I had to go find something else to do. But during the teenage years, I was in the warehouse working with all the guys.
Been there.
Who am I? I don't know nothing about all that. But they showed me how to polish furniture and, and how to screw on mirrors and
been there, done that.
And handles on dressers and bedroom sets. And finally, they let me do some selling. And then I decided, well, I better go find something else to do. So I'm very familiar with loading things on trucks and making them not get hurt, nothing broken, scratch.
And, we took a little bit of a different approach. Yeah. It's all about the customer, and it's all about automation too. I mean, the corporate reload accounts are looking for more and more data today, and we're trying to bring technology to the space, to the industry, to guys that we're talking to on the phone today. We're trying to give them and arm them with technology that most of the industry doesn't have available to them, and we're doing it at a fraction of the cost. And it's not like you have to go out and build a multi-million-dollar system. It's already done for you. It's just plug and play. And the way that we charge for things, there's not even a SaaS model. We basically give it away. It's free unless there's a transaction created in the system. And even then, it's 75 cents to $4. That's it. We're more looking to, assist in bringing truth and transparency back to transportation on a global scale versus, high dollar here and now revenue to the bottom line through a SaaS model. We're looking at something that has a little bit more longevity as well as to gain and garner market share.
So the view that we saw is, I'm not in your industry, so it looks, quote, small, but do you have capability for larger shipments as well?
We do. Right now, the only cube that we have in the States and that's being pushed is, we call it the 2-skid mover. We have 3 other sizes where we can actually play Tetris in any mode of transportation. So we do have multiple sizes, and we're also working with the military version right now that's quite a bit larger.
Yeah, okay. So Nick, talk to us about what your day is like every day.
Yeah, so a lot of outreach, constantly working with new partners to onboard, bring them into the network, establish relationships that are going to help really everybody win more business together. Ultimately, like Dan said, we're creating a community to be able to share assets. Also, through technology, we're able to now have a full view of the shipment life cycle. What I mean by that is that we can see the shipment in real time, where it's at. You can see temperature, humidity. If there's any impacts, there's an accelerometer inside the container, so we know whose chain of custody it was in at that time. Even down to a photo cell. So if the door's open or closed, we'll have a full condition report through the life cycle of that shipment. And really right now, my day-to-day is more so just talking to executive teams, founders, owners of these companies to ultimately let them know, hey, this is a technology that's available to them, as Dan mentioned, for free. The only time that there is any charge is through a transactional fee at the time of booking. which is very nominal. Again, it's 75 cents to $4. And what this does is this allows them to offer a unique solution out to their clients, unlike anything else on the market to date, and ultimately provide a more secure and better customer experience through the smart cubes, as you saw in the video.
And guys, I want to put this out there too, if we can. It's we want to be container agnostic. I want to work with anybody who has any type of container or autonomous asset that we can actually assist in, monitoring and moving and providing the right container or the right resources or the right structure for any move. It doesn't have to be our cube. I mean, we can work with anyone. We are working with a couple other mobile storage locations now, and we'll be actually putting out press releases about those in the next coming months and powering interstate moving divisions for other container resources as well. So we're excited about where we are. We're excited about our partnership growth. And again, we created the cube because we needed a way to get in with the technology to get things started, to garner enough data to actually, provide the machine learning, the ability to learn. And, the container was just an entry, but it ended up being one of our core products internally because we call it a smart cube, and lo and behold, it has quite a bit more than most of the other containers do with regards to reporting.
Well, tell me, Dan, is blockchain a part of this, or am I just got it wrong?
No, you got it right. Blockchain's a piece of this, crypto's a piece of this down the road. We are working obviously on a global scale in numerous directions, looking at smart leases and more automation and assisting the industry and keeping, we call it manumation to a minimum and really eliminating as much human error as possible.
So, Jim Walsh, you have very specialty things, whether it's artwork or racing bicycles or computer stuff or golf equipment or pool tables, pianos, grand pianos, right? So this kind of stuff wouldn't really fit into a cube, would it? Or would it?
Some of it definitely would. In fact, Daniel, I do have to talk to you about a project that we're working on. So after this call, I'll reach out to you.
Absolutely, brother.
Yeah, Ed, it's funny that, one of the things I really love about this industry, and I'm sure you guys all feel the same way, it's like we kind of do pretty much the same thing every day, but it's a different shipper and a slightly different set of circumstances. So for me, I just never, ever get tired of this industry, because it's just, it gives me, I'm so passionate about service delivery and getting better every single day. And I think our service partners in the field feel the same way. And this time with COVID has been really rough. March and April really sucked. But like Mark and Eddie said, I think business volume is starting to pick up. Things are starting to come off will advise. I'm really hoping that July becomes the new June for the industry, and the industry gets delayed further into the fall. And we're optimistic and still having a lot of fun. We just released one thing I'm really excited about is we engaged with a software development team 2.5 years ago to come up with our own software. And man, it was a really rough, difficult road. And we finally launched it, and it's being utilized. It's really being accepted by our clients and service partners really well. So there's client portals, vendor portals. We've got mobile applications that are coming online here in the next month. So we've got a lot of really great technology. And much like Daniel and Nick have said, technology is really important to kind of keep costs down, make processes and procedures just more efficient, less paper, less human error. And so really psyched where we're going as a company. Got a lot of new employees too. We've been able to hire some people with, out in the West Coast. We just hired, she starts Monday, a person that's been working in our space for 9 years. We're able to bring her aboard. I've got a new director of service partner relationships that starts next week as well. So we've got a really great team and getting better every day.
Jim, We were at our meeting, the last live meeting that I produced in Washington. Well, you were in New York. New York Times Square on February 25. Yeah. And that was the next to last one. And then we did Washington, D.C. that Dan and Nick were at on Feb 26.
Yeah.
That was the last.
We saw Tom down there too.
Right.
And yeah, Tom and yep. and your friends as well, if I remember right.
Right.
Yeah. So those are the last live meetings that I was able to produce, and someday we'll do it again. But about March 15, we began learning how to do Zoom video conferences. So here we are today. And we're going to have about 100 more between now and Christmas. And lining them up now, not quite one a day, but almost. And we're always looking for sponsors, guys, so you'll hear from me later. But Jim Walsh, you've been around a very long time, like me and some of the others. But what I know, look at all this. But what are you seeing now in terms of the younger people that you're seeing in the industry? Are they diverse? Are they female? Are they all technologically oriented?
Yes, for sure. And I'd love to hear from Mark and Eddie about this, but a lot of them don't want to answer their phone either. They prefer text functionality. So actually on our platform, we're overlaying a Twilio functionality so that we can start communicating with the transferees in that manner, because, literally some of our process is when we accept an order, we usually call and introduce ourselves, calling on behalf of the moving company or the RMC, and we kind of verify make and model numbers and ceiling heights and, all this sort of things that's going to be critical to convey to our service partners so they're prepared. And so, we're getting a lot of transferees saying, can we do this all via text? Like, can you not call me? Is essentially what some of them are saying. And I'd love to see from a household goods standpoint of you guys experiencing the same thing.
Definitely. It's probably not as harsh as you're explaining, because what we're doing is just so personal, right? Yeah. But definitely it's people wanting to communicate much more via text. We developed a platform for that years ago. We actually developed some recent technology. We're not quite at like Uber status yet, but a driver just hits one button on their phone when en route to a customer's house, and it sends a message letting them know that we'll be 30 minutes away from them, and it'll eventually be to like a tracking process and so on, so that they can keep up with progress. We know if you show up on time, that alone, you show up on time with a smile on your face, ready to work hard, people are happy for that, right? But yeah, the long phone calls, the long drawn out old school move coordinator stuff, it's a thing of the past. And it's about capturing the information that's pertinent as quickly as possible. And like right now, everybody talks about the millennials, right? And it's millennials have been in the workspace for so long. We've been moving them for so long. We need to stop talking about that and start looking at Gen Z right now. That's the ones which the digital information has been a part of their life from the moment that they were born. I seen my nephews before doing this, on television, understanding why it's not getting bigger,
Yeah.
And we need to find a way of being able to interact with these individuals, streamlining processes to make them quicker, easier, more fun and entertaining. Like a Marx video, right? With the whole anime thing and the upbeat music and the good voiceover. These are the things that engage people. It's these quick, hard, little notes that they'll be able to make from it. So, yeah. John, what about you, Mark?
Yeah, Jim, I'm seeing the same thing in our side of the fence. We get a lot of phone calls from techies I don't like to label people as millennials or X-Geners or baby boomers, but there certainly is a conversation about all that. But one statistic I heard that kind of opened my eyes was that in the next 5 years, 2/3 of the population is going to be millennials. And they think differently, they act differently, and we need to stop talking about them and about their quirks from our perception and get to know them and get to find out how they think. We're going to have a president in one day that's a millennial, I'm sure, and we just have to be ready for change. So
I've got a grandson through marriage who's 24 and has an engineering degree and looking for a job. So I put him in touch with a couple of my customers who are into robotics because that's what his engineering degree is in. And he doesn't want to talk at all, period. And so I picked up on that too, and I don't pick up my phone anymore. So I'm thinking young too. So let's go back to Jim, a quick round the clock here as we have to come to a close. Jim Walsh, are you seeing people moving out of the urban environment to whether it's a place like Syracuse area or some other place away from an urban setting because they'll be working from home and they're going to need more space and maybe just get away from concentration of people? What do you think?
It would be complete speculation, but I can only speak from what has been my experience. I have my oldest son. Our oldest son lives and has worked in Manhattan and works in the finance kind of stock industry. And he back in very early February, the company that's a fairly significant employer basically told everyone to work from home. He was working from his apartment for maybe a week before he just said, "Hey, Dad, do you mind if I just come upstate?" And so he's been upstate here with living with me with his girlfriend, who works for a fashion designer. And so both of those employers are now giving all their employees an opportunity to work from home if they want to, or come back to the office. So, it'll be interesting to see how that affects our industry. I think it's very uncertain as to what the future holds, whether that, that typical office environment is ever going to become what it was again.
Marcolo, are you seeing that in your Western states?
as far as Ed, what was the question again?
Yeah, the question is moving out of concentrated urban areas.
Yeah, I'm seeing a certain amount of that. I'm still seeing a bit of an exodus from Southern California to the Southwest area, some of those states,
yeah.
Utah and Texas and some of these other states. It's things in California have changed quite a bit, and it's harder to do business in California. And this began probably 30 years ago. We started having some challenges, and companies were starting to leave California. So it's still an outbound state where at one time it was an inbound state. So, but to answer your question, I think we're seeing more people go into rural areas.
I'm based in San Diego, as you all know. I used to live in West LA by Century City, and I'm originally from Boston. But what I'm seeing, and I relocated myself and family and my business in 1980 to LA from Boston, and San Diego in '93. I've been in San Diego since. Next stop maybe Maui. I'm not sure, but it's further away we can get. But urban and coastal California is definitely got issues. I don't think they're going to go away, but I'm seeing a real surge in investment by the state and by large organizations buying up land in Central California, as well as San Bernardino, Riverside. And I'm seeing a real surge. Cost of living just back from the coast Southern California, as you know, Mark, is like almost like mid-America. And of course, the weather is different. People are somewhat different. But I'm seeing huge investment coming, no matter who wins the election in the fall, of mid-America, mid-Central America, rebirth, restructuring, rebuilding, reshoring of the U.S. supply chain, bringing back manufacturing, and inland California, whether you're a Democrat or Republican or whatever. The current governor in California is hugely investing in inland California right now, and all kinds of tax breaks for the tech companies not to move to Texas, but to invest in Central California, where the cost of living is so much lower than coastal California. Anyway, I want to very quickly say thank you very much. We're going to continue this topic on July 7, same time of day. And our cast of characters so far include Roy Phelps with Allied Van Lines in Canada. QMM is the name of the agency. Roy Phelps will be speaking. Also, we have Roger Sorhagen, National Accounts with Allied Syracusa. And also Bruce Waller from Armstrong Relocation in Dallas. And joining us on that will be others, including Drew Phillips, who's with Sterling Lexicon in San Francisco. We are inviting others to join this discussion. Same kinds of topics, just different players, different areas. It's July 7th. On July 8th, we have a very special program featuring worldwide ERC leadership. CEO Lynn Shotwell is going to give an address, special address to our audience. And that will be at 12 noon Eastern, 12:30 Eastern. We begin at so I'll send you the times. It's going to be a worldwide broadcast, and it's free access, free download. Also on the program is Worldwide ERC's new VP Government Relations, Rebecca Peters. She's a registered lobbyist, as is Lynn Shotwell. And so my premise on this is to get them to speak and address the congressional relations, the agency relations, and K Street relations, just like ERC used to have, very effectively, to strive to get tax breaks, again, for the relocation industry, particularly with the reshoring of the global supply chain back into the U.S. Again, this is not political, it's just business, about manufacturing stuff in the U.S. rather than outside the U.S. And where will those plants be? Again, my thinking is inland California and south central U.S., meaning north of Dallas, eastern Oklahoma, northwest Arkansas, ground zero for low-cost America first kind of manufacturing, low-cost housing, fresh start for Generation Z and others. So I see that in the infrastructure bill causing huge reinvestment into the U.S., and God knows we might need it if the virus thing expands. So thank you guys for being involved. We're going to publish a complete schedule of what we have coming up. Very impressive. We are picking up some co-sponsors as well that will help me pay some bills, because this is our only source of business now, is the conference on video. So thank you, Eddie Marx, from being involved. Jim Walsh, again, great to continue our 25-year relationship.
Right.
Well, it's always great to have you and Nick involved again. And we welcome
Thank you, Ed.
back to July 7 as well. If you
Thanks, Ed. Looking forward to it. Send us the invite.
Marcolo, you're welcome to come back and give us a new video and talk more about findyours.org.
That'd be great.
Thank you all. So this is Ed signing off from California. Thank you. And
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.
Make it a great one.